Hello everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are and where you're watching this video. There's a lot of you in a lot of places. I'll have a cup of tea ready for you, a nice mid-afternoon snack, or I'm gonna tuck you into bed. It's your favorite motorcycle YouTube content creator, Pestilent Tube, Rodic Boob, Yammie Noob. Given that a large majority of those checking out this video are wanting to get into riding, yep, looking at you, Jordan. I know you're watching this video and I know you want that bike, but you're gonna have to wait. Thought it would be wise to make a video discussing what kind of budget you might need to get started with motorcycling. For today's video, since budgets can vary from person to person, I'm going to paint 3 realistic scenarios for someone starting out with bikes. I'll try to impart some tips on how you can get on 2 wheels sooner rather than later, because it might be easier than you think. The other thing I want to focus on as well is making sure you understand the pitfalls and risk of being penny wise but pound foolish when it comes to bikes, because Papa Yam has an economics degree and I intend on making you understand your personal utility curves. Also, today's video is going to be centered around North American riders, currency, and measurements. Sorry international bros, but I don't know the ins and outs of you getting a bike, so I can't speak to that. Of course, today's video would not be possible without the support of all of our members on YammieNoob.co. Click the link down below if you want to support what we do here on this channel and win yourself a free KTM Duke 390, XSR 700, or Triumph Street Triple R. And no, it's not a scam. I've given away 8 of these giveaway bikes so far. Seriously. You also get access to our Discord server where I am on every day and hanging out with people and exclusive content. This video also wouldn't be possible without the good folks over at Manscaped. Check them out in the description below for a discount code for all of your grooming needs. I'll tell you a little bit more about them later on. Now, gentle squids and milady squids, hold on to your fedoras and cozy up to your waifu, because we're about to see how you can get started on 2 wheels on a budget. The first category we'll discuss is what I'm going to call the paper-thin budget. This is the guy or girl who simply wants a bike, doesn't care if it runs or not, doesn't care about how much of anything, and just wants to get into it. The budget we're setting for this category is $1,000. What does that get you? Well, if you're not going to ride dirty, wear something resembling gear, and still attempt to maintain the bike and have insurance on it, you're going to have a tough time with such a budget, but it is still possible. Let's run through how. On Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, you'll be able to find something with 2 wheels and an engine for around $500. Typically, these are the most wretched of wretched bikes and will probably not run, or if they do, will cause all kinds of headaches. However, let's say you found a running 1998 Ninja 250 that someone is looking to dump because they're on the run for a murder they may or may not have committed in Mexico. Boom! $500 and it's yours. I'd like to mention things to look for on a $500 motorcycle, but you're gonna be lucky if it turns over on the first crank and goes down the street. It's gonna be beat up, no doubt about it. Your budget is now halved. Well, now what? Well, I'm gonna assume that you already have your M-Class license and have done the MSF and paid your admin fees at your local DMV to have your license, so we're not counting that in the mix. Well, you're gonna need a helmet. Whatever you do, do not go on the same Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace to get a helmet. Go to a store and get a new one. You can find closeout deals on icons that are ECE and DOT rated. They'll be plenty safe for $120 or less. Okay, now you've got about $380 left. You need some gloves, so budget at about $50 for that. You still have got money left over for some boots and a jacket, so there you have it. You're fully geared up and you've got a bike. Awesome, right? Well, here's my take on the paper-thin budget approach. Yes, it is possible to do this under $1,000, but you don't want to do that. It's much wiser to save up a bit more and have a peace of mind when it comes to your ride. Unless you really enjoy tinkering, being frustrated, having a bit of a ratted-out bike, I can't really think of a reason to have such a limited budget. Your time is valuable, my sweet squid. Spending hours upon hours every week trying to get your bike to do the simple task of going down the road is going to get old really quick, and it might even sour you on the whole experience of motorcycling. On top of that, with $1,000 for bike and gear, you're not leaving yourself much wiggle room for the bike because gear tends to be a fixed price at the lower end. You're not going to find a roadworthy helmet for $30 or a solid motorcycle jacket for $15. My recommendation is to save up a bit more. Skip the paper-thin budget. I know it's going to suck waiting and saving, but it's the right thing to do. However, keep in mind, I am merely a sentient dog on the internet, and if you want to buy a $500 motorcycle and tinker with it, make it your own and have fun, then do it. To give you an example of the type of bike that $500-ish gets you, here's a Craigslist listing in my local area. Yikes. Now I have a question for you guys. Most places are under shelter-in-place, quarantine, or stay-at-home order, and lots of folks are taking the time to better themselves, take care of their bodies more, read more, whatever it may be. But the one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is this prodigious amount of boinking that is happening during this time. Guys, if you're cooped up inside all day with your significant other, sparks might start flying when you're deep in that cereal bowl by 2 p.m. while wearing your underwear. Take the time and trim yourself up with Manscaped. Did you know that 8 in 10 people prefer their partners to be trimmed or groomed down there? It's true. The 1970s called and they want their bush back. Much like motorcycle racing, reducing weight and becoming aerodynamic is the key to success in the bedroom, and Manscaped's patented no-nick ceramic blade technology will help you do that. Right now, fans of the Yam get 20% off and free shipping by clicking the link below and using the code Yammie20 at checkout. And this one's off the cuff and off script here, guys, but I really do use my Manscaped trimmer every week, and it works pretty great. So click the link down below. Yammie20 at checkout gets you 20% off. Thanks so much for them to sponsoring this video. Let's keep it rolling here and check out the next category. Next category I want to discuss is what I'm going to call the mid-tier starter at $4,000 total budget for getting started. To me, this is the absolute sweet spot and what I recommend to nearly everyone who approaches me about how much money they should have to get started with bikes. At $4,000, you still have to factor in about $500 to $700 for a great set of protective gear that leaves you with about $3,500 to get your bike. This is the absolute sweet spot for the used starter bike market. You can find Ninja 300s, R3s, Dukes, Ninja 400s, older SV650s, CBR 300Rs, all kinds of great, reliable, sensible motorcycles that will turn on and when you jump over them and just work. That's the key distinction here. With $3,500, you can score a lightly used small displacement sport bike from the last 2 to 3 years. You're getting a modern, fuel-injected bike that will turn over and start every time. At $3,500 as well, your options start to expand into dual sports if you're interested in riding off-road too. You can score a DRZ 400 for $3,500. It's not particularly easy, but you can find them. To me, this is the price point you should be looking at as a first-time motorcyclist because it means you're going to get the appropriate motorcycle for your skill set and a reliable one that you don't spend loads of time in the garage tinkering with it. The best part is that most of these more modern Japanese bikes have great insurance rates too if your personal record isn't too bad. A Ninja 300 costs next to nothing to insure because so many people have bought and ridden them, as opposed to some exotic MV Agusta or an FZ09 that probably 40% of people have wheelied and crashed at some point. To prove my point, I will go on my local Craigslist right now and find a bike. And there we go. Within 2 minutes, I found this pristine 2011 CBR 250R going for $2,500, way under budget and super clean. Since you've got a decent amount of coin left to play with here, a few things you should be looking for when you're checking out the bike. Always check the chain. Chain and sprocket wear is going to tell you more about the previous owner than anything else on the bike. Is the chain rusted out and the sprockets worn down? Previous owner probably didn't check up on the bike too much then. Check for leaking fluids. Oil, coolant, gas, and those kinds of things leaking are to be critical fluids to check. Disregard the coolant if it's an air-cooled bike. Leaking fluids aren't a deal breaker, but be sure to talk with the owner and see what's up with it. It might be as simple as a new hose. Check for signs of drops or abuse. Your first signs will be scratched fairings, busted up bar ends, or parts that have been suspiciously replaced. Check for tires with strange wear. If you see a big burnt strip going down the middle of the rear tire with no tread, that means the previous owner enjoyed doing some burnouts. If you see what we call boogers on the edge of the tire and no chicken strips, that means the bike was probably tracked and ridden very hard. Try and find the cleanest, lowest mileage bike you possibly can to mitigate the risk of buying a used bike. It's always going to be a bit of a gamble, but you can take steps to prevent any unforeseen headaches in the future. Another point I'd like to make is about new ultra cheap bikes like the CSC San Gabriel, the Cleveland Cycle Works bikes, or those Amazon bikes. My hot take on this, a used Japanese bike is going to be far better and more reliable than a new Chinese bike. Do not bother with them. The last tier I want to discuss is our sweet money boys, the upper tier with $7,500 and up to start riding. At this price point, the only limit is your personal sense of responsibility and what you're willing to stomach and your imagination. I've seen guys in their 40s go out and pick up a fully kitted out BMW GS 1250 as their first bike. Is this a good idea? God, no. But hey, some people have more money than sense, kind of like me when I yeet my Ducati in the dirt. At this budget, I see no reason to buy a bike used. If you got the cash, get a brand spanking new bike and enjoy life, my guy. I know lots of people will chime in the comments and say that a first-time rider should always get a used bike because you're gonna drop it, blah, blah, blah. But if you have the means, a shiny, nice new bike feels awesome in your garage. A brand new bike is always gonna feel more like it's yours because no one else has chucked their primordial gooch juice soup onto the seat. At this budget, I recommend going with a top-end helmet for maximum comfort. Get yourself some Dainese or Alpine stars for your gear. Throw an exhaust in your bike too because you're definitely going to want to hear that thing. I'm thinking of guys who are in their early 30s and and go to a Ducati dealership to score a brand new scrambler, they definitely fall in this category. However, a point I want to drive home is that no matter what your budget is, motorcycling is going to feel fun, exciting, and a little bit dangerous. I remember my first days with my bike and I just found any excuse I could to go ride. I love jumping into the hobby or the lifestyle with both feet and appreciating this new vehicle I had. So if you're starting out at a $500 hoopty, a $2,500 peach of a used Japanese bike, or if you went and balled out to flex on everyone with your new bike, you're going to have a blast and there's a bike out there for everybody. It's certainly possible to get started on many different types of budgets, but my personal recommendation is to plan on spending about $3,000 to $4,000 to get started right on a bike that will work and with gear that's going to keep you safe. Alright my dudes, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Let me know in the comments below what your first bike was, how much you paid for it, and how much you loved it. Spoiler alert, you probably loved it a lot. Thanks again to all of our members on YammieNoob.co. They're a huge reason why we get to do what we do, so be sure to hit the link down below and check that out. A huge shout out to Manscaped once again for being a longtime partner of ours and continue to support what we do. Check them out below as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Fact: E is the most common letter in the English language and appears in 11% of all words. Goodbye.